Novak Djokovic out of the Australian Open as Jannik Sinner makes his first Grand Slam finals, and he does it in impressive fashion. This is the reaction. Let's go through it. That's right, and even the Australian Open tweeting here saying scintillating Sinner. He achieves the impossible, defeating the 10-time Australian Open champion Djokovic 6-1, 6-2, 6-7, 6-3. I mean, an incredible performance, really solid tennis. Jose Morgado coming in as well, saying the number 4 beats the number 1. To reach his first career Grand Slam final, the biggest win of his career, 3rd win over Djokovic in 9 weeks, and Djokovic's streak of 33 consecutive wins in Melbourne is now over. Wow, what a performance from Jannik Sinner. He came out the traps fast. Djokovic looked out of sorts, but you always expect Djokovic to just turn it around. And despite winning a 3rd set tiebreak after saving a set point as well in the 3rd set, it wasn't to be, and Sinner continued where he was in the first 2 sets in that 4th set, and Djokovic's level never really hit the heights that we're used to. We can see some of the stats here, as you can see on the right hand side. Jannik Sinner, one of the biggest statistics for me in this semi-final was his serving, and most notably the second serve. His first serve percentage only 58%, but 83% of points won behind it. But the second serve is where all the damage was done. I'm not sure what he's been doing in training, but his second serve was super dangerous, and Djokovic just didn't seem to have an answer for it. Jannik Sinner getting a lot of cheap points, a lot of body serves, a lot of kickers, a lot of a slice out wide as well. He was showing Djokovic loads of different looks, and this Djokovic that was playing couldn't handle it. And it just didn't ever seem like Djokovic was going to be able to win this match. Jannik Sinner playing super solid, and you have a look down here. 54 unforced errors from Novak Djokovic. It's nearly double that Jannik Sinner hit, and more consistent tennis tends to win when you get to these big matches, and that's what Jannik Sinner did. He was consistent throughout, and Djokovic's level went up in the 3rd, but he was unable to maintain it, and Jannik Sinner got the victory. And Sinner has now won 9 of his last 10 matches against top 5 players. Well, he defeated Alcaraz, Medvedev, Rublev, Medvedev, Djokovic, Medvedev. He lost to Djokovic at the ATP finals, then defeated Djokovic again, and defeated Rublev, and now has defeated Djokovic once more. I mean, this guy, is he the one to beat on tour right now? It looks like it. And he joins a small collect and becomes the 4th man since 2011 to defeat Djokovic at the Australian Open. Stan Wawrinka 2014, Denis Istomin 2017, Hyun Chung in 2018, and obviously now Jannik Sinner 2024. And the last time that not one of Federer, Nadal or Djokovic, the big 3, has reached the Australian Open final, George Bush had just begun his 2nd presidential term. The iPhone, YouTube and Twitter didn't exist. Djokovic and Nadal had 0 majors, and Alcaraz was 1.5 years old. I mean, put that into perspective, how crazy this is, what's happened by Jannik Sinner. And since the ATP rankings were published in 1973, only Rafael Nadal, with 5, has won more of his first 6 matches against the world number 1 than Jannik Sinner, now on 4, which is pretty extraordinary. And you see there, 4 out of 6. Monte Carlo lost to Djokovic, beat Alcaraz in Miami. Tour finals, the win and the loss against Djokovic, and now Davis Cup and Australian Open against Djokovic. And even more statistics here. On the 16th of July last year, Carlos Alcaraz interrupted Djokovic's streak at Wimbledon after 2,195 days. On the 26th of January, Jannik Sinner interrupts Djokovic's streak at the Australian Open after 2,100 195 days. The exact number of days. It was just written in the stars. And I know I said at the beginning of the year with the predictions for the year that I thought that he'd laid out the blueprint, Alcaraz, on how to beat Djokovic. As I said at Wimbledon, not at the Australian Open. Well, Jannik Sinner's taken it and run with it, and wow, it really did work. Players to beat Novak Djokovic at a Grand Slam, Davis Cup and ATP Finals level, all of them, there's only two other players. It's Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. So now Jannik Sinner inserts himself into that picture. Fantastic, that is. And in doing so, he becomes the first Italian to reach an Australian Open final after defeating Djokovic in 4 sets. And smile if you're the only man to beat Djokovic in an Australian Open semi-final. He was 20-0 in the Australian Open semi-finals, but now 20-1. Jannik Sinner is built different. He most definitely is. And another statistic from this match, which is quite absurd. According to Tennis Abstract, this was the first time ever that Novak Djokovic played a complete Grand Slam match without having a break point. I mean, that is crazy. Jannik Sinner serving so well, and despite going to deuce a number of times, didn't allow Djokovic the advantage once. What did Djokovic have to say about it all? He said, "This is one of the worst Grand Slam matches I've ever played." Brutal honesty from Novak Djokovic, who sets a high standard for himself. Yeah, and also said, "This loss doesn't mean it's the beginning of the end. It's still the beginning of the season." Yeah, normally he kickstarts his season with an Australian Open trophy. Not to be this year. So, what can you say? Everything has to come to an end, and maybe he'll be back next year fighting strong. He still made the semi-finals, was just up against an inspired Jannik Sinner. And Sinner, after becoming the first man to beat Djokovic at the Australian Open in 6 years, Courier asked him, "What is it in your game that makes it so difficult for him?" Jannik said, "I don't know, ask him." I think we play really similar, taking to return as many balls as possible. He's an incredible server. I try to guess some of the time, trying to move around him. I'm not going to tell you the tactics. Well, it definitely worked, and whatever he's doing, just keep on doing it, because I don't think Djokovic really understood how all of these serves were coming back and how he was able to guess where Djokovic was going. Maybe his team has spotted something. And this was Djokovic on Jannik Sinner, beating him 3 times since November. That's the 3rd time he's beaten you since November, and you were unbeaten against him before that. What has changed in his game to take him to the next level? Djokovic said he was always smacking the ball really hard from both forehand and backhand corner. He's famous kind of for that. Just slaps the ball, plays very quick, loves to be aggressive. I think his serve has improved a lot. I definitely agree. He's hitting his corners very well, and I think he's up his speed, serving bigger now and more precise. Movement overall and mental part. He was always very calm, very composed, but I think he struggled maybe to win the big matches and in the big moments. But now it's all coming together, and of course Darren Cahill, who is a very experienced coach, and someone that has worked with the former world number ones in the world, obviously having him in the corner is very helpful from the mental side of things, of course, along with everything else. Yeah, he's got a great team. He's on a very good path. He's going to have a chance in a couple of days to win his first Grand Slam. Yeah, I think he's hit the nail on the head there, and you can't underestimate Darren Cahill. That is a massive addition to Jannik Sinner's team, and it could be the difference between the whole mentality of him winning a slam and not. And last but not least, Djokovic, just on him losing his winning streak to Sinner, he said, "I'm kind of hot-headed right now. After the match, it's very difficult to reflect on things in a more profound way. Maybe tomorrow, maybe in a few days, but I'll definitely have a lot to be proud of. And in terms of what I've achieved here, the streak was going to end. One day it was going to happen, and at least I gave everything I possibly can under the circumstances where I didn't play well and lost to a player that has a very good chance to win his first slam. But that's all it is. This has been a very special city, best by far, Grand Slam of my career. Yeah, I hope that I'll get a chance to come back and play at least another time and go through the emotions once more. But that's the reaction to Jannik Sinner defeating Novak Djokovic at the Australian Open, and he's through to his first Grand Slam final. Give me your thoughts in the comments section below. Are you super pumped for Jannik Sinner? Are you super disappointed that Djokovic is out? I want to hear all your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit a like, subscribe, and join us for a podcast coming up later.